Welcome back to our channel, and thank you for tuning in and thank you for supporting us. But if you're new to this channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please encourage us by doing so that we can bring you the latest news as they come. And together we shall support our great leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, IPOB, Eastern Security Network, to make our Biafran dream a reality. He said. The former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson cries out as UK court grants Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's family permission to challenge the UK government. Orders Johnson and Buhari impostors arrest. According to reports, British court grant Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's family permission to challenge the UK government for not defending Mazi Nnamdi Kanu against Buhari impostors government. The UK judge lamented in court that it was very disgraceful and absurd that the British government, led by Boris Johnson at that time, refused to intervene in Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's court case against the Fulani Nigerian government. Despite being a British citizen, Boris Johnson is now in serious trouble. The United Nations Working Group on Arbitrary Detention issued a statement in July of this year, stating that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu had been subjected to extraordinary rendition and that he should be released immediately and unconditionally, and compensation paid to him. However, before becoming Prime Minister, two UK Foreign Secretaries, first was Dominic Raab and then Liz Truss, who is now the current Prime Minister, both declined to comment on whether Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was a victim of extraordinary rendition. According to the court, the evidence available to date establishes that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has been subjected to extraordinary rendition and tortured or inhumane treatment, and it is unacceptable for the UK government to continue to prevaricate on this issue. As Biafrans, we are glad that the court has now granted permission for the case to move to a final hearing, and Buhari impostor and Boris Johnson will never escape arrest and jail term, just as Ekweremadu was arrested. The UK court judge, Mrs. Justice Ellen Bogen, explained her decision to grant a judicial review when the Fulani Nigerian government were, kicking against it. They rushed to their contacts in the UK government to help them out. But the UK court judge, Mrs. Justice Ellen Bogen, explained her decision to grant a judicial review hearing and that it won't affect the UK foreign policy as claimed by the former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson. The Fulani-controlled Nigerian police arrested a village head and a Biafran. Lots of Biafrans in a community, in a village in Akwa Ibom State, because Fulani killer headsmen lied that they killed their cattle that was encroaching and feeding on the poor village farmers' farmland. According to the Biafrans in Orok Anam local government area of Akwa Ibom State. They said that they did not kill any Fulani cow. They only chased away the Fulani killer herdsmen and their cattle from their communities for invading their farmlands and destroying crops. But the police, controlled by the Fulani Janjaweed, ignored all these complaints. Rather, they started arresting every Biafran in that community, including their village head. They arrested them because the Fulani presidency was called. One of the Fulani killer herdsmen brought out his phone and called the Fulani presidency. And he spoke to Garba Shehu, the Fulani presidency spokesman, who ordered the commissioner of police in Akwa Ibom State to order for the arrest of all the villagers who prevented the Fulani killer herdsmen from feeding on their farms. My brothers and my sisters, you can see what is happening. Also, in Enugu State, the Fulani killer herdsmen invaded a community in Igbo Etiti local government area of the state and destroyed farmlands worth over 50 million naira. The owner of the farmland, a Biafra, lamented that Fulani killer herdsmen that were protected by fully armed Nigerian police operatives resorted to graze their cattle on his farms, and all effort by him and his workers to stop the Fulani killer herdsmen from entering his farms with their cattle failed. Even, it failed. All effort failed. Because the police were protecting them. And nobody wanted to come to their rescue. Even the police operatives that were manning a roadblock around the area refused to intervene. They refused to intervene. But in Akwa Ibom State, they went and arrested the villagers because they prevented the Fulani killer herdsmen from using or feeding their cattle with their crops. The Fulani killer herdsmen fed their cattle on his maize and beans farms that span over 3 hectares. And this was the 3rd time the killer herdsmen invaded his farm. The 3rd time. They came the first time, he chased them. But he couldn't chase them because they were all armed, with the police operatives also guiding and protecting them. They were all armed. And they resorted for external help. They called the police officers guiding or mounting roadblocks around the area, but they refused to show concern. According to the owner of the farms, Mr. Abonyi, he said that he had to call the police area command, Udenu, and the officer in charge directed him to his boss, the divisional police officer, and he had to call the DPO instead of the DPO to come down to the farm to assess damage caused by the Fulani killer herdsmen. as the case would have been if the Fulani killer herdsman has complained. You will see them rushing to that area. Instead, the divisional police officer insisted that the owner of the farm must come to the police station. And you know what will happen there? They will just raise up phantom charges against him and lock him up. So he refused to go. You know, after speaking with the DPO of the police station, the next thing that happened was that he received a call from the police DPO's phone number. And the caller said that he is the chairman of the Fulani herdsmen in Nsukka, and insisted that the farm owner must come to the police station. The farm owner lamented that he left northern Nigeria because of Boko Haram terrorists and came back home in Enugu to do his business. But look at what he has been subjected to by Fulani killer herdsmen, and he cries out that where will he run to and how will he repay the 50 million naira loan he collected from banks. Thank you, my brothers and my sisters, for watching this video. And bye-bye for now.